Hi, it's Steve, and I am here with Loiuse Salomon. Loiuse, welcome.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for
I'm
having
so,
me.
oh, it's my honor. So, as you know, I'm conducting an interview today because you are a freedom fighter, and I want your story on the Gallery of Freedom Fighters. It's a great story. So, let's start it this way. Please tell us why freedom is so important to you that you're taking a stand and fighting for it.
Steve, freedom is everything. Without freedom, we can't do anything. And we take, including myself, prior to about 7 years ago, we took it for granted. We take it for granted. There's always going to be electricity. There's always going to be water. There's always going to be the freedom to get up in the morning and reinvent yourself. This is the American dream. I reinvented myself at age 48 after my divorce. And this is a country where you can do that. But without freedom to choose what you like to do, how much you like to do it, you have nothing. So freedom and liberty that too many people take for granted are the most important ingredient to the American dream, to living a quality, productive life. Without that, it doesn't matter how much money you have. I mean, you can have millions and billions of dollars in the bank, and now you're hearing them talk about, giving you a digital ID, and they can at a push of a button they can take it all away. So what good is the money? The people, the spirit. The way I look at this, our spirit. We have to tap into our spirit, not our pocketbooks. That's what's going to take back America. Like that, you heard the term the spirit of 1776. This is the spirit of 2023. Okay, this is a very important year. Some consider this maybe the worst of times. I consider it the best of times. It is so exciting, to be able to do this. My parents came from Nazi Germany. They had to flee their country. My mother had to flee her country when she was 7 years old. My grandfather was gassed at the French border, taken away by the SS at the French border. I mean, right now, we are still free to hold meetings, to say what we want. We still have our Constitution, our First and Second Amendment, as far as I'm concerned, are the most important. I can still do this. I can still organize events. I can still fly freedom fighters down from other parts of the state or the country to help us with this, to educate we the people. So we still have so much opportunity and we still have freedom left to do that. But I can't guarantee if people don't start waking up in the next few months that in a year from now, we're going to have that. So time is of the essence. It's later than we think, but I'm not fleeing Los Angeles. I grew up here. This is my home, and I believe in fighting for what's important.
Have you always been like this? Have you always been such a fighter?
Yes, I've always been a fighter. Yes, it's in my blood because I'm very close to my parents. My father passed away in 1997, and I was the oldest child in a traditional German, family. I mean, American German, but my parents are from Berlin, actually from East Berlin. And actually, my parents took me there after the wall came down. We went to the old house my father lived in. And yes, because of the fact that I was so close to my parents and heard what they went through during the war, for me, it was just an innate thing that I had to always stand up for what I feel is right. And, no one's ever right 100% of the time. We all make mistakes. But the question is, okay, after you made the mistake, what do you do next? You just pick yourself up and go. That's it. And, I want to say working with all these wonderful patriots and freedom fighters has made me a better person, has made me a happier person. Now, I've always been a happy person, but just to know that I have so many people that we can turn to. And just imagine if we can wake up all of California, that we can wake up all of the country. Many hands make light work. It's not that difficult. And right now on this Saturday and Sunday, I'm having an educational seminar with Terry Raposa. I'm flying him down from Redding, California. We're going to have this in Fullerton, California. And I want to just say something, if I may. We had this event at a church. Okay, it was all set. A donor gave us the money, gave the church the money, and then the church canceled. Now, this is, okay, it's a bad thing, but I'm taking this as a positive to realize, people, it's later than you think. Okay, there's still time. But, you know, if the churches and the synagogues are saying, no, we can't have you because you're having a political event, you're having an educational seminar about the Constitution, to educate people that we have the power in the local, we have the power here. The local government, we have the power to change this. The federal government does not have jurisdiction, interposition, and nullification when it comes to the Board of Supervisors, the Board of Education, and the Registrar of Voters. We, the people, do. And this is what we're learning on Saturday and Sunday with Terry. And I'm very proud and honored that he is coming down and is such a wonderful man. They've actually had success in Shasta County. We all heard about Shasta County. And he told me yesterday, Terry, that they're having success in other counties as well, Placer County. The whole state's coming on board. And what I'm trying to do, and not I, but our local freedom fighters down here, we're trying to take back our counties down here. LA County Board of Supervisors controls $44 billion. Okay. That's not going to the right. That's not going where it needs to be going. Okay. There's plenty money here in Los Angeles. If we take back Los Angeles County, we take back the state, we take back the country, and America, becomes number one again. And God willing, Donald Trump becomes our next president, so you can see by my hat, I'm very pro President Trump, so it's so important. And I want to say that people are really good. Most people are wonderful. And this is beyond politics. This is not about Republican or Democrat or independent or NPP. This is about our freedom. American people love their freedom. Okay, but unfortunately, we want them to wake up before it's too late to take it back. That's where we're at right now. So that's my greatest fear. And that my other greatest fear, is that the Republican or establishment, doesn't wake up in time to realize that all the fundraising that they're doing isn't in the end going to save them either. It's the people. It's like I said a few minutes ago, it's the spirit of 1776 and not the pocketbook. I don't do money. I'm not taking money. People are making donations. So this event, wonderful freedom fighters are making donations so that this little event can take place. And I'm so honored.
I think it's wonderful. And I'm intrigued by your reference to the spirit of 76. Tell me, what is that spirit? What is it like to have a spirit like this?
When I wake up in the morning, I think about this all day, all night. The spirit is something that you can't give or take. It's not like money that can be made and lost. It's something inside you. It's something that you feel. It's probably God-given. It's a spirit to want to be free, to want to be happy, to want to live the American dream. And, unfortunately, the American dream is not real for so many Angelenos. I mean, last year I created Hope LA Day because I really believe in Angelenos. I love people. I'm a people person. I believe that all the money, that $44 billion, that budget that LA County has, that needs to go back into the inner cities. We need to bring the American dream into the inner cities, not just the outer cities. Okay. Everyone born in America, and I say that everyone born in America deserves the American dream, but you have to work for it, not to take it for granted. It's not indelible. It can disappear just as it came. So we all have to fight for it. We all have to work hard. I worked hard all my life. I got that education from my parents. My parents came here, started a business. They didn't come here illegally. They didn't cross the border. I mean, it was not easy to come here. My boyfriend came from South Africa, because you all know what happened to South Africa. Now it's a corrupt country. Now we cannot let America follow suit. We know America is a corrupt place, but we can stop this in its tracks. I'm so passionate and I'm so positive about this. We can stop this in one day. If all the parents, like I believe it's today or tomorrow, there's a movement going on in Glendale where they're saying, take your kids out of school. If all the parents in America take their kids out of school, there will be no more transgenderism taught there. Okay. We have so much power. We don't even know it. And that's what I've learned. And that also is part of what gives me the spirit.
Where do you get your power from? I mean, you mentioned that the spirit may be God-given. Are you a collaborator with God on this? Is God playing a role?
Well, I'm not even a religious person. I believe there is a God. If it's a God or it's a spirit, it's something inside of everyone. Okay, that gives us the will to do what we need to do every day. I mean, we are. It's amazing. I mean, creation is amazing. There is no two human beings on Earth that are alike. I mean, and they're trying now with nanotechnology to clone us, to make us all think alike. I love it when I speak with patriots and we have disagreements. That shows that we're human beings. We're all different, but collectively together, we have to come together now for the common goal. And that's to keep our freedom and our liberties that we take for granted every day. This gives me the passion. This gives me the drive when I know other people are with me. And this is a growing movement. President Trump is also a movement, but this movement will transcend President Trump because no man can be around forever. But President Trump, God bless him, has started something amazing. We had the best economy. We had the lowest interest rates. We had no wars. America was strong, and of course, when people are doing the right things, the evil will try to stop us. So this is basically a war of good and evil. Okay. This is beyond, like I said, this is beyond politics. It's about right and wrong. Now they're letting criminals can get away with almost anything in LA. We're going to stop this. We're going to stop this. You can go into a store now, I think, and you can take $900 and there's no prosecution. I mean, God willing that recall that we have going against Gascon gets finalized, so we can get rid of these evil people. I mean, I've often said jokingly, and this is how I feel about it, and I mean it. If someone doesn't love America and they're born here, I will get them a plane ticket out of here. You live in Russia, you live in China, you live wherever you want to go. And you let me know how it goes after 2 years. If you think you can do there what you do here, okay, they will put you in jail in 2 seconds. Here we have the freedom, but with freedom must come responsibility to do the right things. Freedom, if it's taken for granted or used to excess, can also be a problem. So we have to respect the freedom and know that people died for this freedom. We cannot take it for granted and think, okay, I can go and rob a store. We can do sex changes with our kids, which is what I call Dr. Mengele 101 on steroids. What is this? And why are the parents so silent? Why is there not an outrage? Why are there not millions of people on the streets protesting against this. I know parents love their kids. I know Americans are good people, but I feel that they're reactive, and sometimes they only react when it's too late. So let's be smart. I say, let's be smart. Let's be proactive. Let's stop this now. Okay. I don't believe that most parents think that their boy or girl is actually born the opposite sex. I don't believe that. I believe there's been brainwashing going on. Like I said, I've been asleep at the wheel for most of my life. It's only about 7 years ago that I woke up.
How did you wake up? What was the event that did that for you?
I'll tell you exactly. I woke up because, I've always lived in a nice area, and I'm very grateful for that. And I started seeing homeless people everywhere. This is about 7 years ago. And I was on closed social media. I'm not on social media. I don't really spend my day much on social media. And I got on Nextdoor, which is what you call a closed social media for different neighborhoods. And I started expressing my concern, with neighbors. It's called Nextdoor, and I could not believe, people telling me, Loiuse, you have no passion. Where's your compassion? Excuse me, compassion. Where's your feelings for these poor people? And I mean, it's an outrage to think that they're quite all right with the fact that our kids can't go to the parks. We pay as homeowners, those we pay taxes for the parks, for the roads, for the schools, and we can't even enjoy, all the money that we pay to live here in Los Angeles. And this outraged me, and that's what got me involved. And I realized that, this is quite all right with our government. You see, this is quite all right. Things are the way they are today. I've learned, because I have to say I was naive, because that's how they want it to be. They have plenty money to solve this. Then came what I call the scamdemic, where they made us wear masks and people would lose their jobs. Even at the Board of Supervisors, if people didn't take the vaccine, they would lose their jobs. Now I'm very, very grateful because, I'm not dependent on a job. I'm an independent small business owner, and, I've saved money. I worked hard. I was trying to live the American dream. Right now, in order to get this American dream back, we all have to do this together. I can't fight for your freedom. My neighbor can't fight for my freedom. We all have to fight for our own freedom. And if we all spend a few minutes a day doing this, you'll be amazed. Like I said earlier, many hands make light work. When human beings work together, look what we created. We created this great nation. Look what we did. Look what we can do. I think this can be the beginning of the best America you've ever seen.
I think that sounds really, really positive. How did the child of Holocaust survivors end up being so positive? Is it in your genes, or do you work at it?
No, I think I just was born that way. My dad was a very positive person. My mother is not a positive person. She was a lot younger during the Holocaust. She was traumatized her whole life. And I didn't realize it, until about 2 years ago. But my mother was on a lot of was on a medication to calm her anxiety and her trauma. And unfortunately, about almost 2 years ago, she decided to try and kill herself twice. And, my mother is an amazing individual. She's 98 until 96 years old. She took care of her own bills, her own house. She's tough. Okay. And my dad was tough in a different way. But my father was a positive person. He started a business. My mother did amazing things even after my father passed away. Even though she had trauma, they love America. They always taught me how wonderful this country is. that they came to, unfortunately, they came to this country after World War II. And I think part of it's my parents and part of it's just my nature. That's a God-given thing. It's a blessing to wake up every day and be happy and be positive. I know a lot of people don't have that. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
That's a wonderful, you have an attitude of gratitude, which I'm sure is contagious.
Thank
How do
you.
you deal with the discouragement that you must feel when you realize that the government is deliberately ruining our lives? Doesn't that make
You
you
know,
feel abandoned or
no,
betrayed?
not at all. So I'll give you an example in small, how my mind works. Yesterday, the church canceled. And the way my brain works, whenever anything happens that's a negative, I have this inside me. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Nothing really bothers me. I like to I use every opportunity that's negative. Obviously, positive is positive, but I use every opportunity that's negative because I truly believe that there's something greater out coming your way. In other words, I think that anything negative that happens, I like to take that and make it so wonderful that was actually a blessing that it happened. And so we now have a venue for Saturday. It's in Fullerton. Now I actually will, I hope that Terry comes down again. We're going to try to do something for all of Southern California. So I'm taking any negative in my life that comes my way and I turn it into positive. And that's always worked for me. I don't dwell on it. I say, okay, this was meant to be, and there's a reason for it beyond my comprehension. So it's not going to get me down. It's going to get me up. Does that make sense?
It makes infinite sense, and I think you're aware that everybody from Holocaust survivors to special forces personnel adopt the same attitude. You make lemonade out of lemons.
Yes.
Um, Let me ask you this, as we draw to a close. Fast forward 100 years from now, um, what do you want people to say about you? What is your legacy to this country, and how do you want to be remembered?
Never thought about it. Don't even have kids, but have dogs. But you know, I would just like them to say that I was a fair person. I would that I tried to help people, that I was, loved my country and did my small part to help retain the freedom and liberties that we have and had. And we have less now than we had, but we still have. And so I would like to say that myself and all the freedom fighters, I can't speak for other people, but I would like to say that we did have a small impact, and that 100 years from now, America is even greater than it was. You know, um, I was raised to be humble, and I can't say something other than what's true in my heart. I just love America. I can tell you, my parents came here with nothing, and I would just want the American dream in 100 years from now to be alive for everyone, as it's been for me and my parents. That's what I would like to see. That
That
would
is
be
a that's a
my
wonderful
legacy.
legacy. And I'll tell you something, what I learned from you with all your authenticity and your passion is that, yeah, you only do your share, but one person's share, if it's injected with the authenticity and the passion and enthusiasm that you have, has this great ripple effect. It goes from person to person to person to person to person. And that's why I'm so grateful to you that you told your story, because as people hear your story on this gallery of freedom fighters, it's going to have that effect. It's going to have this person, and they're all going to say, listen to Loiuse. She'll get you excited. So
Thank you.
thank you for exciting us, Loiuse.
You're most welcome, and thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
My pleasure.